We are moments away from the elimination draw where LPL host Rendong is joined by LGD's mid laner Cool. And now to determine our matchups, #1 seeds will first be drawn into the four elimination matches to learn when they play. After that, second seeds will be randomly drawn into those 4 elimination matches. The only condition you need to be aware of is that 2 teams from the same group cannot face one another in a best-of-5, with the play-in elimination schedule being announced on broadcast immediately after this draw.
Yeah, and I mean, frankly, that's why we were all speculating as well that, you know, the teams that they want to play against, they can't be from the same group, so not everybody can get and want to have 1907 Fenerbahce.
Yeah, that too. I feel like Cloud9's probably like, man, we had the easiest group. Feels great to move out of it, most likely, but now we also want to draw the team that we're in the same group as. I think One Esports is probably the one that most people are looking to hopefully end up playing against.
Yeah. I'll be honest, this is my first live draw narrating over the top, so I'm a little nervous to see what's going to unfold for Fnatic. At the end of the day, you know, I'm here, I'm a Worlds representative, but when I go home, I go back to being an EU representative, and I want to be proud of that, and so I'm a little concerned that they may die a really difficult matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they left you with much confidence in that last game. They even struggled the other time as well, having really long series. It does feel like they'll be able to figure it out a little bit more in a best-of-5.
And now they are going to be pulling the Pool 1 seeds first. You see Cool there on your screen, as handsome as ever. Chinese fans happy to see him. Team WE getting the first seed in it. Of course, where they match up is going to affect furthermore when they draw the pools, all of the Pool 2 seeds after this, to see how they're going to stack up against each other. You can see the bracket there on your screen now as we start to fill it out.
Yeah, of course, very funny that Cool from LGD will be able to draw Team WE first. He's been around a few teams, Cool.
A very historic mid laner, always making late runs, and he gets C9 next.
And the interesting thing about this is that, like, until we see the other teams, it's like, what's he gonna draw? But like ultimately in the context of this, it's hard to say exactly how this is going to affect the matchup. Although technically, when you're drawn third, we now know that you're gonna get whatever the third team is, so it will be curious to see.
Yeah, and I think one thing to remember is that this is not a full bracket stage. It's just a single best-of-5 elimination match. So even though WE and C9 look like they're on the same side of the bracket, that does not mean they'll be playing each other.
No, not at all. It's just the one best-of-5. It's all it takes to get you to Worlds. And I guess there's the other thing that lingers, Mark, of the fact that maybe you want Fenerbahce to win these best-of-5s just quietly if you're an NA fan.
I will admit that there is a small bit of bias because there was the point that was made that if all the #1 seeds won from the play-in stage, TSM would have to get World Elite. Now, with Fenerbahce temporarily upsetting that, there's a chance, a fairly high chance, that there will be more variation in the actual group portion of Worlds.
Which does make it more exciting, maybe a little more frustrating if you're in those other 3 teams that have already been seeded in your groups. A lot more uncertainty now as to who is going to show up there, as to who is going to be there. But now with all of the Pool 1 seeds drawn, we're going to be moving on to the Pool 2 seeds, and this is where we will start to get the matchups. Reminder that we will not have the schedule until after everything has been drawn, but still curious to see what the matchups are going to be.
Ah, yeah. Magic hand of Cool. What does he draw?
All right, so just as a reminder, Lion and W were in the same group. So Lion will be moved on to play C9. They will not be able to play Team WE as they both came from Group A.
Thank God. For a second there, I was a little bit concerned that it all came crashing down.
Do we want to look back at that first game the Team WE played?
No, we're good. We're good. It's Cloud9. We're good.
Interesting matchup, I think, because both teams seem to be very early game focused overall.
Next up, team set to play Team WE will be Young Generation. All right.
I mean, this is what you were talking about, potentially a little bit of a macro game looking lineup between these two teams.
Perhaps, of course, the young side and Young Generation have shown that nerves can get to them, so if you are Team WE, this could be the matchup that you dream of.
I'm excited to see Null versus Xie. After Xie was struggling a little bit, I want to see what Null can do. He's been looking steadily better across this stage. Although the bot lane may start to look like a little bit of a weak point up against WE's.
Might be a slight difference there between them.
Also, Nocti was stepping up a lot as well, so I want to see how he actually performs in the best-of-5.
All right, now HKA will be playing Fnatic. They're unable to be matched up against Fenerbahce, and that's probably in their best interest from what we've learned over today's broadcast.
They were struggling a little bit in that matchup versus 1907 Fenerbahce. Fnatic, it's a little concerning because it does feel like this is an early game focused team. They might be able to throw some pressure at caps in the mid lane, so that could be a bit of an issue.
All right, with now Team 1 locking in against Fenerbahce, that might just be an uphill battle for Team 1. For nothing that they haven't worked with before. Definitely the underdogs coming into the tournament will remain the case. But honestly, out of all the teams you could draw, this is technically, I think for many, the best option.
I mean, I could speak for 1907 Fenerbahce freely when I say this is the best matchup for them to get, to be perfectly honest with you. I would say that Team 1 looked like the shakiest in terms of performance of the team.
And of course, thank you to Cool and Ren Dong, everyone on the Wuhan side of the broadcast for making that possible. But now, looking at this, we talked about the ideals. We talked about some of the disaster scenarios. I'm still very concerned for Fnatic, but Mark, as our NA representative, how do you feel for Cloud9 right now?
I feel decent overall. I think the big thing is just how much they can abuse Seiya in the mid lane, because that is, you know, the kind of go-to Cloud9 strategy, and Seiya is no slouch at all in the mid lane.